funds in Jan. So yeah, we ain't gone over that. I do like Limstrong. I don't think he's quite of the level of Mudruk and that, but if they've done the scouting, they know he can get better. Why not? He could complement the side. For me, the biggest thing with Limstrong is I'd rather this Mudruk guy from what I've seen, And again, people need to be able to tell me about Mudruk's weaknesses, which I can't. I don't really care about his strengths. What's his weaknesses? Everyone can tell you he's a good dribbler. You can go on YouTube and that, When's the time he made a mistake? He made one in the champs. What's his weaknesses? You work on your weaknesses, you get to the next level. There's no point telling me Saka's a baller without telling me he needs to improve his shooting. He improves his shooting, he gets better. But so yeah, I don't know if he's levels with Mudruk, but again, them man are saying 50 odd plus million for Mudruk. Limstrong might be 17, 18. The difference could be a midfielder or two. All right, cool. Has Ainsley played a game for Southampton yet, DG? Last time I checked and I did my loan report, he got 17 minutes. Ralph Hasenhuttl was quite, not critical, but saying basically, yo, you need to improve off the ball and that. And he weren't in the squad for their last game. I don't know if he picked up a knock. I don't think he did, really. Ruben Neves and Neto were both priced out by Wolves. Rightly so. They want to keep them dons together, really. I can't blame them for that. Long gone are the days of grabbing the top players from the excluding the top 4, top 6 clubs. Long gone are the days of just grabbing them for 30 million. Again, everyone in the Prem's got money, so everybody's trying to zang everyone. It's almost like we're tourists. As you know, if we go shopping in France, Italy, or whatever, we're paying more than if the Italians go there or the Germans or Barca and Madrid. It is where it is. Yeah, I did see Lamptey. Is Eddie good enough? Honestly, I don't know. What I think is Eddie's improved. He's gone from being a bit part player to a rotation player, and your chance is coming, Again, Gabriel Jesus, by God's grace, whatever God or gods you believe in or faith and things, even the non-believers pray that Jesus, at least until that Leeds away game, doesn't get a yellow. But I think he's going to get one against Spurs. Again, he has to make it to game week 19 before the ban thing gets redone and it goes from 5 games to 10 because he's on the yellow. Eddie's chance is coming because you're going to get slotted in there. I don't know if it will be Project Martinelli up front, which I don't want to give up on, but the dynamics have shifted. It might be Project U up front, Smith Rowe coming off the left. You'd imagine Eddie and Ketia just slots in like for like with Jesus. So your chance is coming, Again, you can't just edit the season. When you look at his statistics over the course of last season, it's not that good. But since he got his real starts, he was doing his thing. It's down to Eddie. You signed a new deal. You're patterning up. Show what you can do. If it was up to me, give Eddie his chances. Let him be utilized in the squad. If there is a striker out there that's a bit different to what we have, like a Giroud, a target man that can bring all the techie players into play and be utilized in the squad, I'm for it. So I hope Eddie and Balogun and all these guys that are involved, can have a role. But again, if not, we need to make bread. If Eddie shows that he can be about for a couple of years and we can turn him into a 30-40 million pound player or something, sell on clause, that's cool. Balogun the same, Kion Edwards, Mika Beref, all these dons in the academy as well, the same, and across all them positions. If he's just got injured right now, God forbid, and Eddie has to play until January, I don't really have faith that Eddie's going to get them goals, but I'll back him all the way, really. I mean, Mudruk plus Limstrong, 70, 75-ish million. If this regime is serious, which I think it ain't, that should be easily done. Mudruk wants Arsenal too. But as we've seen, he can want it. We can want him. Smash the like button, people. You're not putting the bread down. Forget about it. And to be honest, I wouldn't really want 2 development wingers, really. If we're going to bring in 2 of the same position, you might as well go in midfield. I don't think there's a point. I know Limstrong can play in a couple of roles. Mudruk the same. He can actually play behind the striker. I just think 1, really. This January is huge, could potentially be our most important of the last 5-10 years. Who do we need more, a striker or a midfielder? Midfielder, in my opinion. Got to take that smart yellow soon. Trust, but when is the best time, really? I don't... Listen, we're playing at home against Spurs and Liverpool. You definitely want Gabriel Jesus there. Leeds away, you saw what they did to Chelsea and that, so that's not going to be easy. And Leeds away is not easy anyways, but you want him involved. But if he has to get that, by God's grace, he gets that against Liverpool. He doesn't play against Leeds. Eddie Nketiah strikes, comes back to haunt them and we keep it moving, really. And then he's fresh home. It's only a 1-game ban. Why we link Locatelli and he said he don't want to sign for Arsenal. We don't need that locker in our team. Boy, I don't believe the Locatelli rumors, as I've told you lot, Again, if you've signed a 4-5-year deal, it's well, like you said, it was well documented that Solo wanted to sell him to us. We wanted to buy. The man wanted Juventus. If you've signed a 4-5-year deal, how not too many Italians go abroad. There are some examples, but historically, there's not too many. They're comfy in Italy, rightly so. So I don't know, but if you signed a 4 or 5 year deal at Juventus and that's the club of your dreams, and that you're gonna give up after a year. If they force you out, they force you out. But are you gonna give up after a year? Especially because Allegri might get clipped. The next manager might build the team around you. He might not really. If Locatelli wanted to sign, I'll take him. I'm not gonna hold it against you. You know, I know fans are like, well, you didn't want us now, but it is what it is, really. Champions League football and that. You know, well, Juventus the way they're moving, that might not be a thing right now. But yeah, I'd be open to it, but I don't believe it. Is Vlahovic finished already? Nah, man. He looks like he's struggling. The whole of Juventus looks like they're struggling, really. You know, I don't think he scored too many goals from open play. I think he's got a couple of penalties and a free kick, but it looks all mad, really. Everyone's looking meaty at Juventus right now. Busquets linked with MLS move. Would you take him for 1 or 2 seasons? Busquets a quality player, but nah, man. The wages he's going to want, the contract will end up. We'll somehow give him a 10-year deal. Forget about it, man. Is Telemans still on our list? You'd imagine he's there, but the dynamics could shift, really. There's clearly an admiration for Telemans, and they clearly like what he can bring to the table as a player, but I don't know, man. In an ideal world, you get him, Douglas Luiz on the cheap, or anyone else, really. I really wanted Fabian Ruiz. That was the one for me, but it weren't to happen, innit? It didn't, the cookie didn't crumble that way, people. Conte to Juventus, hopefully. Them Juventus dons wrapped it. Vlahovic and Locker could be doing up vibes at the Emirates. Don't kill me. We still need a midfield replacement for Partey. Right now, I'll give Xhaka his flowers this year, but to compete and win the league in the future, we need to get impact players to mix in with these young players. I hear that, and you're not wrong. I hear that. I don't know if I answered this, Nancy, but who do we need more, a striker or a midfielder? Striker score goals in it and goals win you games, so you could say that. But for me, where Arsenal are at right now, you need a midfielder, man. Pardon me. Big up, Happy. Hey, another one putting some really positive words of encouragement in my comment sections every now and again on YouTube. I appreciate you, broski. I see you, man. Don't think that that's not appreciated, people. Because it really is. But on that note, what was I saying? The bosses have been amateurish in the market. A list of mistakes far too long to mention here. Good work, by the way. And that's the thing, man. We kind of spoiled it. Like last year, we sold ourselves short for all the good signings I think we made without bringing in a midfielder this year. For me, I would have been able to accept not bringing in a winger. I can't accept not bringing in a centre mid. And anyone that's been following me for time, you know, all I've wanted is a midfielder. I think until we get a midfield that we have 100% confidence in with respect to Partey and Xhaka, because there's different reasons. I think our ceiling is kind of capped. We need Partey upgrade on Xhaka. I think we do need an upgrade, but I think unless Xhaka forces his way out, you could stay and be utilised in the squad. Big up Josh as well in the cut. Shout out Ben. We need both a DM and a winger. Don't settle for one over the other. Tell him again, Ben, because this is what I feel Arsenal fans get twanged in. Like I just alluded to, in the summer, it was right wing or a centre mid. And naturally, you know, there's logical reasons to lean to either side. You go back to when we signed Partey, it was all 8 and a 6. I want Partey. God knows what would have happened if Partey never had his release clause. You need both. You know, Chelsea weren't sitting there and saying, no, do we get a left back? For all of what they're doing this season or not doing, do we get a left back or a centre back? Yeah, the dynamics are different, but they brought in Cucurella and Koulibaly and whoever they did. I can't see us bringing in 2 wingers with Nelson still here. Marquinhos just arrived. I hear that. Same. Ideally, 2 players, in January. I hear that. You've seen enough of Lokonga to think he can be part of this long term. Yeah, but you need to develop. And I think I need to see significant progress. I'm not asking you to look like a world beater, but I think you've got, and again, it's very hard to play Premier League football, but I feel if we don't have some confirmations of you, like even if I'm very harsh against Brentford, if the dynamics were different, he could have cost us in his own little way. You know, technically he gave a penalty away. We're lucky it was offside. And then after that, there could have been another offside that thing he does. I think off the ball, he needs to improve. I think I like that. He's got that Perlo Yaya Toure thing about him, and he's nowhere near them and not them man's level, but they do things at their own pace. Now, clearly, to be like them, man, you need to be lit in it. And I don't really think I can't see that really and truly. And I think the mentality needs to improve. Not that he hasn't got mentality. I just think he lacks a lot of self-belief, you know. And I do think he looks a bit like Bambi on ice at times. But I do like Lokonga. I love to be wrong. But I can't see you being an 8. You're not the 8 I want to see at Arsenal. I hope to be wrong and I wake up and you look like that. I don't quite think you're that 8 I want to see. I think you could be a 6 long term. Right now, you need your handheld. You can't play that lone 6 alone. So you're not going to get hit ahead of Xhaka on the best of days in the 8. You're going to play by default if anything happens to Partey, but it's long, really. And I do need to see a bit more progress because, you know, some youngsters are more experienced than others. He came into this with a decent amount of appearances for Anderlecht. Like if I type in Lokonga, I'm sure he captained them at times. He captained them at times. He might have even had like 70 appearances for Anderlecht. He's still 22, 23, 23 this next month. Sorry. So again, there needs to be a bit more progress from Bambi, really, because you're not making the World Cup squad. You know, he's played 24 times in the league, but he came into this with 61 appearances in Belgium. Now, the golf is different, but again, there's certain man that never kicked a ball like that, and they're doing better than you, sort of thing. And he had 78 appearances at Anderlecht before he signed here. So he's just over 100 career appearances. I'm not expecting you to be amazing, but I need to have some sort of trust. Yeah, I did see Lamptey's initiation song still. Initiation thing. Yeah, is Edu is incompetent. He can't get a big player over the line. Vlahovic, Rafinha, Martinez or Neto. Let's see if Mudruk can get done. Locatelli would be good too. Bit harsh. Vlahovic wanted Juventus, and between the whole club, they need to all hold their L. Martinez, clearly we weren't prepared to pay what United were, really. Neto, it didn't seem like it was getting off the line, but yeah, man, I think when Edu's been part of some good work, but I don't know what his legacy is really, because half of these guys that are lit, you know, Jesus was an Arteta-led signing allegedly, and he was able to do the Brazilian link-up. Zinchenko the same. You wanted the goalkeeper Neto, we wanted Ramsdale. That's how that worked. You know, again, Partey's your signing. Partey's a good player, but 45 million for a player you can't really trust at 29. What is your legacy? You ain't really sold anyone significantly. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure we sold Joe Willock when he was here. I'll give him that. 30 million was good business. Bringing in Odegaard was also good business, but respectfully to Edu, that's why I think if things were going wrong, I think Edu will go before Arteta personally. And this is where I kind of wanted an experienced sort of guy, because like you've seen in the last few windows, when we're scrambling for Douglas Luiz or we're scrambling in January, maybe people with more contacts or more certainty in this game, they could have pulled something out. And I don't think Edu has really and truly. And we've got to remember, as much as I like Arteta and Edu to a degree, we're doing you lot a favor, because you lot got these. Yeah, we're trying to do this. You know, the young players are growing, young coaching staff across all aspects, from Wilshere, Mertesacker, the two mentioned, growing. But we're doing you a favor. Yeah, you were doing your thing in Brazil, but we're doing you a favor. You haven't really got the pedigree to be doing what Arsenal, to be in that role at Arsenal, especially at this volatile time where we're nowhere near winning Premier Leagues and what we used to kind of be, sort of thing. And that's why I'm a bit harsher on them, if I'm honest, because we're doing you a favor. Like, obviously, you clearly convinced the powers that be at Arsenal that you can do a role here, but we're doing you a favor. Why did Arsenal wait to the end to bid for Luiz? I mean, I think Ethan come on a bit to kind of convince him to sign a scholarship deal and tell him that there's going to be a pathway at this club. But I'm good. I'm happy to see that, because that's what, for a young 15-year-old lad that's probably playing FIFA and that, it's what man dream of, innit? And for the, obviously, you know, he knows that he can, you know, he's wanted by a lot of top clubs, but there's one thing seeing it, there's one thing physically being in it. You know, he traveled with the team. Obviously, child safety laws, he couldn't get changed with the team and things like that, but he traveled with the team. He played in the Premier League. He played at Brentford's new stadium with all the fans and that there. He's played with some of the players. When you can see that it's attainable, then you're gonna go back in the academy and work hard, sort of thing. Edu's done some good stuff, but he's also said some things revealing weaknesses. He said moving some players were impossible for him. Exactly. And I'm not against ripping up contracts, but I think we've clearly done that more than we needed to do, really. You know, obviously there was a lot of contracts that weren't really Arteta or Edu's guys, but you know, I look at Willian, I look at Aubameyang, that's you lots else. You gave Aubameyang that deal. You convinced Willian to sign. You brought in Cedric and Marie. You brought in Partey. Now I can't blame you for Partey not staying fit. All I can say is what's gone wrong, because I'm sure when we signed Partey, the medical staff doing his medical, all of these lot was looking at his pros and cons and things. What's gone on? What is happening there? That is your legacy. You know, you can't claim Martinelli as well. You might have done your bit to get him well, in fact, I don't even think he was here, but that weren't a you signing. That was a scouting thing. So I don't know. When Edu does well, Odegaard or Vieira, to be fair, it's a scouting thing. People say nothing, stop the agendas. He's doing okay. I don't think anyone said any agendas, you know, really. I don't think he's done amazing. I don't think he's done terrible. It's a mixed bag. Ultimately, we've been left short, really. And for me, I have to judge them harsher, because the technical director, the manager, as much as listen, I've got a lot more time for Arteta than I do. You are both midfielders. The one place that I shouldn't have any question marks should be midfield. Like, I should be betting on it, and if I can't see that, then I have to assume what I'm seeing in front of me is what you lot want to maneuver with, sort of thing. Rickin, I appreciate you for that, man. Resubscribing with Amazon Prime on Twitch. Thank you very much, man. I just see that. Been subscribed for 4 months. My guy. Appreciate that, man. So yeah, man, it all depends, really. DG spoken on that pagan Jason Cundy, bro. Pardon my language, people, and I'm sorry to any kids, but fuck what Jason Cundy has to say, bro. Like, them man are engagement whores, bro. They just want to, they don't even believe what they're saying. He don't even believe what he's saying. Them man know people are gonna click their blogs, they're gonna get paid, they're gonna get the numbers, and ultimately they're gonna stay in the job. When we as a society, don't get it wrong, when people chat shit, we need to flog them, but until in society like football, until we learn to ignore people, YouTubers that say sensationalized stuff, talk shy, all these things, until we learn to air it, we're not getting anywhere. He's chatting shit. Danny Murphy chatting shit as well. I don't think he's wrong in saying maybe there's 18, 19-year-olds that could have played that are more ready than Ethan at this moment in time. Matt Smith went on a couple of loans, but he's not the guy. Really, you never said this when all the other things are happening. And what I would say to Danny, simply put, I think there is, but who are these midfielders at Arsenal you refer to? Who are they? What's going on with Smith Rowe? He's not fitting it, so yeah, irrelevant still at this moment. Danny Murphy, bro, he's shit, bro. Liverpool should have never bust him, bro. They're all rubbed, bro. Souness, Jason Cundy, they're all rubbed, bro. They're all rubbed. They're all Danny Mills again. Henry rubbed him out. These men are all duds, and they've played professional football more than us, but just don't listen to them. They're chatting shit. At some point, if you go and see someone, if you go and see something and you get angry about it, and these people keep saying this, at some point you need to slap yourself, because if these lot allow you to make yourself angry and they're chatting, they don't believe it. I've been in certain incidences where there's certain well-known YouTubers where there'll be a topic and a treatment, what we're talking about. They've literally said, I don't believe, this is my opinion, but once the camera turns on, I'm going to say this. It got me mad as well, but air it, man. Air it. They're chatting. Air it. They want engagement. Rating the work rate, my bro. One of the few Gunner fans I could tolerate. I hear that, man. Arsenal fans got to learn to ignore that stuff. Media does it on purpose because the reaction will always be there. Arsenal and United fans, because I think that's what they do. If Jesus gets suspended and Eddie is injured, who is backup? Boy, you might have to do the false 9 thing with Odegaard and Smith Rowe. Project Martinelli through the middle, innit? Martinelli up front, Smith Rowe or someone occupy that left-hand side, and we keep it moving. Trust me, back in my day, merchants, they're shit, man. There's no point listening to them. And that's why they hate things like even what we're doing. This is why they hate new media, because the common man and woman can just stop chatting, listening to what they have to say, and we can do our own thing. That's why they're sensationalized headlines. As you know, there's going to be a time, I feel, in all content where we're going to get away from it. But right now, what sells is hyper sensationalized stuff, sensationalizing things, saying mad things. That's what gets people in. That in all aspects. You see that in the music industry. This is why man are looking like rainbows, saying they worship the devil, getting mad tats on their faces. Attention is the new currency. It firmly is. Attention is the new currency, and these lot have recognized that. That is the new clout. Attention is the new clout. Clout is obviously going to get you clicks, as people are referring to. People are going to, you're going to pay your bills when they're doing their, when it comes to renegotiating the Alan Basil's and Jason Conte's contract, they're going to sit there and say, well, we're pulling in these numbers. Boom, 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 boom. Really. This is why they're going to chat shit, bro. This is why people like Trevor Sinclair, bro, you need to know, you need to not bite the hand that feeds you. You was trying to do the Malcolm X thing. You're doing, that's not the platform for that, brother. It's not. Exactly. Back in my days, man. It's people like that prevent football from really getting some, when people having real personalities and stuff. I don't know why Arsenal waited until Louise. North London derby prediction, by God's grace, we win, my guy. In January, wingers must have substitutes who have the same abilities, because injuries can come at any time. I hear that. You're not wrong in that. You're not wrong in that at all, man. I feel like I'm missing something. So, yeah, I don't know, man, with that. You need to raise attention when you don't have fans. And this is it, man, because a lot of these people, they've got no integrity. Would you take Eze? I rate him highly. I think people gas him a bit, think he's got a lot to work on, but yeah. Exactly, but he's got the nice little platform for himself and he just chats, bro. Jamie flipping O'Hara as well. He's trying to fight 15-year-olds and that, and he's flipping talking about stuff. You know, this is why I rate Grealish's recent comments, bro. He basically said, like, I rate him. He stuck it on Souness. Souness has an agenda against me. I'm not going to listen to what Souness says because them man there have, you know, I've got Pep Guardiola. I wouldn't be listening to Souness because somewhat, you know, if you're old enough to remember, certain players lied about being a certain person's relative and you signed them up and you must have seen how shit they were in training. It's a myth. This is why I only watch a handful of football content. My go-to is DG in Turkish. Big up yourself, my guy. Hey, tell Turkish to reply to his DMs, man. I said yo, he said yo, and that's it, man. The man there, Hollywood now. I tried to get a collab, it didn't bang, but yeah, I don't rate him as highly right now. Some people make out. I'm not wowed by skills and that. You know, he missed a sitter against us. Sometimes I think he overplays, but I think he's decent still. I'll take him to be part of the squad, but if we're bringing in people, I want curtain raisers. Easier said than done, though. So we really have to watch that space and see how it goes. Big up you lot, man. Elite talking points as usual, folks. Always a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure. 127 likes. Well said, DG. Superficiality over substance these days, and that's all it is, Path. Like, because as much as I criticize talk shit and things like that, and I think it's wrong. I think they lack integrity and all, not just them, everybody. Sky Sports do it as well. You know, when Arsenal lost against Brentford, Gary Neville was talking like he knows everything about Arsenal and they're the same ones bred in. It's the nature of the game, innit? Thoughts on Maguire's leaks comments point me in the right direction. I don't know. What sort of impact do you think the World Cup will have on the league? Broski, honest to God, I don't have a clue. But what I would say is, obviously, there's going to be players playing at World Cup. Some might pick up injuries. Some might have burnout off the back of what's a congested season already, off the back of what was a congested season last year and pre-season. And yeah, this is the last international break. But international break, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know which players are going to need rest. And that's for the players playing at the World Cup. Obviously, if you've got a 25-man squad and 5 men are going to the December World Cup and the other 20 are still here, what do you do with them? Do you organize friendlies? Do you, man, go on some warm weather training? What do you do? Like, what about the rest of the squad? Because they can't just be sitting at yard. So I don't really know, man. Deluded, what do you think about the October schedule? I think people overstate its difficulty. As we've seen from the Europa League first game, Arteta going to do full rotation, at least until the PSV games. I disagree, Mario. I think you can't underestimate how difficult games are. You know, every game tells its own story, and we've got a lot of games, and we've got injuries, and we've got less bodies in our squad. So I think it is a concern, but we're just gonna have to deal with it, bro, man. Big up Uncle Pat for doing well at Palace, man. Hopefully, we do see a lot more black and minority managers through the door, and not just that. As much as I love Arsenal, and I'm not making it an Arsenal thing. Obviously, you think about all the minority players that have played here: Rollcastle, Henry, Bergkamp. We keep going. When you start going up the levels, like I always find myself doing it when I'm on the watch logs, when it pans to Mikel Arteta, or when it pans to the subs bench, you can see it. When you pan to Mikel Arteta, you don't see multicultural faces on the bench. You know, you don't start seeing it in the boardroom. And that goes for many clubs. And, you know, it's not just that. Football should be a diverse. I don't want I wouldn't want someone to give me anything just because of my color. Like, it could be a bonus, man, I'm sexy and that, but it's got to be because I'm wavy. I just think, yeah, man, that just shows there's many levels to go up, man. Only mods can pass links. I send it to B, and obviously he can do a thing, man. Shout out Culture Mark, man. 9 games is crazy. It's crazy, bro. There's nothing you can say. Arsenal playing well hurts talk shites pockets. That's why they always try to push the certain narratives to keep us as a banner club. It is, but who really cares, man, what they think? They're not Arsenal fans. They don't care what they're saying. They don't even believe what they're saying. Who really cares, man? DG, do you think the owners will back Arteta in January? I think they've backed him already, if I'm honest with you. Money's been spent. We didn't spend as much as last year, but money's been spent. You know, money has been spent. They committed to, off the back of one Premier League season, 50 million Ben White, and he's doing all right. But to get it, they allowed you to give Aubameyang a new deal and tear it up. The same with Willian. You know, you've been allowed to spend 20 million quid on Lokonga. You know, you've been allowed to bring in 45 million Thomas Partey. You brought in Jesus, Zinchenko, etc. I do think we need centre mids. You lot clearly had some bread because you were scrambling on the last day of the season trying to convince Aston Villa to part with Douglas Luiz. So there's clearly some money there. I don't know. Lokonga is too old to not be on a level yet. Whisper me the link. Send it to him, man. Big up B. So yeah, once he gets that, then obviously I can be clued up on whatever it is that you're referring to. I hope so. But like last season, I can't see. I can blame. Obviously, as an owner of a company, you need to take responsibility. But I don't think not getting top four was on the Kroenkes. I think it was on Edu and Arteta and the playing staff. And I think the same will be said this season. And as much as I like Arteta, and context has to apply, if we do not get top fours, someone's got to answer for it, man. For our midfield, we have to show ambition. Why not De Jong? I mean, you know it. I know it. We can't get De Jong, bro. You know it. I would love it, but you come on now. You know De Jong to Arsenal's a myth. I would love to be proven wrong. Hope I can be clipped up if he ever signs. And how silly were you? But you know De Jong's a myth. I hear you on the ambition thing, but you know in your heart that's a myth. A big, big myth. Dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. Shout out Augustine. Good morning from New Jersey. Deluded. Good morning from London, or better yet, good afternoon. Technically. So yeah, man. Interesting talking points as usual, man. You lot really come through. With that though, keep them